thank you so much for joining us. And let us begin with our first and only story, the 2016 election. Or, as you may know it, I thought I wanted it to be over, but now that it's over, I wish it was still going on, because it turns out the ending is even worse, 2016. The results on Tuesday were a little different than what just over half the voters wanted.
We can now project the winner of the presidential race. CNN projects Donald Trump wins the presidency. Donald J. Trump will become the 45th president of the United States.
It's true. That happened. It turns out, instead of showing our daughters that they could someday be president, America proved that no grandpa is too racist to become leader of the free world. Look, Papa, someday that could be you. Now, if you're like me, the implications of this have been hitting you in waves. One minute you're numb, and the next minute you realise that Donald Trump, this man, will soon have access to the nuclear codes. And then maybe you get distracted by daily life until it hits you again. Oh, our future president was supported by a former Grand Wizard of the Klan, and 60 million people voted for him despite that. And then maybe you finally manage to get some sleep, but then you wake up realising, oh shit, the Supreme Court. Because remember Merrick Garland, who the Republicans have refused to confirm all year? You know, the guy whom we asked you to choose a Supreme Court dog for. You actually picked this one, by the way. We never announced it because we figured that we would tell you when he was confirmed. Well, he's not getting confirmed, and that dog is dead now. No, actually, not really. She is fine, but she's not getting on the court.
Donald Trump will fill that seat, and maybe more. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is in her 80s. Anthony Kennedy is over 80, and there are other justices who've bandied about the idea of retiring. Bottom line, Donald Trump is going to shape the Supreme Court for decades to come.
Wow. That is one of those phrases you just assumed you would never have to hear. Like Vanilla Ice is picking up his Nobel Prize in Physics. Or Henry Kissinger just came out with a line of skinny jeans. They go with everything. Now, it has been wave after wave of nausea all week. I woke up on Thursday feeling fractionally better, but then I turned on the TV and saw Trump in the Oval Office with President Obama. And just look at the president's face there. He cannot believe what he's looking at either. In fact, just listen to the actual audio in that room. Is the new national anthem now. You see? We're laughing. We're having fun. And then you remember, Trump's going to be in charge of the military, and leaders there do not know what to expect.
They have seen Donald Trump's statements on the campaign trail, talking about waterboarding, talking about bombing with little regard to civilian casualties, talking about taking the oil in Iraq. All of these things potentially very serious violations of international law, violations of the Geneva Convention.
Yes, our president-elect has at various times said he'd bomb civilians, loot oil and waterboard, which isn't a military strategy so much as the series of words that Donald Rumsfeld mutters so he can stay hard while he's masturbating. and look, Trump won this election. By which I mean he won the Electoral College, which, for reasons I will never understand no matter how many times it's explained to me, is how things are done. And many people, it's important to remember, many people are happy to see him in office. Some are voters who think he'll bring jobs back and shake up Washington. Others are happy simply because he isn't Hillary Clinton. And others, of course, are Vladimir Putin and Scott Baio. But for the rest of us, we are faced with the same questions as a guy that woke up the day after a Vegas bachelor party, deep in the desert, naked, tied to a cactus and a dead clown. Namely, how the fuck did we get here, and what the fuck do we do now? Because Donald Trump will be president, and respecting democracy means accepting that, although there is one sentiment that I would argue takes that a little too far.
The man hasn't even been a president for a day yet, all right? Let's give him a chance to be the president.
Give Donald Trump a chance.
We now have to give him a chance and see how he's going to govern.
The American people should give him a chance to govern, because if he succeeds, we succeed.
Now, in the broadest sense, I get that impulse. Hope for the best in the face of very long odds. It's like we're on a plane and we just found out our pilot is a wombat. I don't like this, I don't understand how it happened, and I'm pretty sure we're headed for disaster, but what the hell? Come on, Batty, prove me wrong!